Hello. Well, this is episode number 6. I thought I'd have a little fun today talking about making television commercials, shooting television commercials in Louisiana. Speaking of New Orleans, which I talked about in episode 5. In Louisiana, things are different. I got a call from a guy who worked for BBDO Advertising in New York City. He's from Shreveport, Louisiana, originally. And he said, Derek, you can help us. We have a politician who wants to get into office, and maybe you can help us with this guy by coming up with an idea for us. And I said, well, okay, what is the deal? He says, well, he's running for he wants to be the head of the education department in the state of Louisiana. And I said, okay, fine. And so my friend said, well, come to meet me in Shreveport, and we'll talk about it, okay? And I said, okay, fine, great. So I got in my car and I drove. I had a nice new Mercedes at the time. It was a 6.3, an old car, but it was faster than a Corvette, this car. But it was a Mercedes. It had a 6-liter engine in it, I think, or something ridiculous. Great car, sunroof, all of that. And I had a girlfriend, and she was a very nice girl. Anne was her name. Anne H. I won't say the last name, so I'll give her some anonymity. And so Anne, we got in my car and we drove up to Shreveport, Louisiana, and then we met with this guy. And to give you an idea what this guy was like, he's an art director for this agency out of New York. He changed his name from his original name, which was Richard Hires, and I'll go ahead and reveal his name, I guess, Hires, he changed it to Sky Hires. So you can see where this guy's mentality was. He's a very nice guy, but he's kind of a character. And so I said, okay, Sky, so what are we going to do? And so we went to, he said, let's go to a place where we get some takeout. That's all he said, okay? And I said, okay, great. So we drove to this place, and it's called the Cub, C-U-B. It's in Shreveport, Louisiana. And we drive up to this place, and it's it's one of these places where they have car hops, girls who come out and they put a tray on your window, and, and then they bring you the food in the car, and then you eat in the car. And I go, okay, great. And so the waitress, so Sky and had a friend of his from New York with him in the car as well, who came down to work on this thing. And so Sky said, okay, we'll place our order now. And I said, okay, great. And I'm expecting food, right? No, this is alcoholic mixed drinks that they bring to your car, and you can drink these mixed drinks in your car, right? So Louisiana is a little bit of a lawless place. They had a politician there who ran for governor, and his license plate said, "Vote for the crook," and he won the election. So give you an idea of Louisiana. Well, anyway, so we ordered mixed drinks, right? And then we're looking out the car window as cars parked there, and there are these guys inside this plate glass window, and they're playing pool, right? And I'm going, great. And then I noticed that they've got wads of cash in their hands. They had, dollar bills between the little finger and the middle finger, and then $5 bills, and then $10 bills, and then 50, I think. So their hands were full of money, right? And so I began to realize they're gambling, right? And I said, Sky, that gambling is against the law in Louisiana, isn't it? And he said, well, yeah, but this is not a problem. And I said, it's a problem, and these people are, well, I mean, it's fine with me, but I mean, they're gambling, they're, playing pool. And Scott says, look, there's nothing to worry about. And I said, I'm not worried, I'm just curious. He said, because, Sky says, that's the chief of police on the left, and the guy on the right is the head of the FBI, and the other guy is the mayor of Shreveport. 3 guys playing pool. All officials of the government, right? Gambling, wide open, right? And so I go, okay, great. And the guy from New York was just going, I don't believe this is wild, you know. Of course, New York now is completely out of control city. So, but it used to be that a New Yorker would be shocked by this. But anyway, so that was the beginning of this thing. So then we go down to New Orleans. We drive down to New Orleans because that's where this political official was that I'm going to make the video of, you know, commercial, so he can win an election. So we drive down to New Orleans, and so I say, okay, Sky, well, tell me about this guy. What's the problem? And Sky says, well, we have a problem with this guy. And I said, well, what is it, Sky? He says, well, he's running to be head of the education department for the state of Louisiana. He's going to be head of all education in the state. I said, okay, great. He says, and but he doesn't have a high school degree, and he never went to college or university. And I'm going, what? He said, yeah, that's the problem we have. So we really can't talk about his background too much because we don't want to talk that this will all come out. We don't want to emphasize that. It's, you know. And I said, yeah, well, I guess that's a big problem. I mean, you've got a guy head of the education department. He doesn't have an education? What? So this guy says, but you can fix it, can't you, Derek? And I went, oh, shit, you know, so I'm going. And the girl I'm with, she's looking at me, she's going, Derek, what are we doing with these characters? And I'm going, well. So anyway, so we set up the commercial for filming. And what I did, and I was a bad boy, you know, I have to admit it. I put him, we went to a library, a beautiful library, and they have books in the library, and you know, very beautiful furniture, leather chairs, you know, just really beautiful. We put this guy in a 3-piece suit, $3,000 suit, and shaved him and made him really look like a banker, basically. And he says, I'm running for the education department of the state of Louisiana, vote for me, et cetera, et cetera. So the whole atmosphere that he's in is of an educated guy. But he doesn't mention the fact he has no education, right? So I filmed that, okay? And, you know, and I just went, oh, okay. So we finished filming and everything went well. And then I said to Ann, my girlfriend, I said, okay, let's go back. We've done it. You know, I got my check and all that, so we'll drive back to Houston. So Ann and I said, we're driving back to Houston in this Mercedes limousine. It wasn't a limousine. It was what it was. It had a limousine engine in it, but it was actually a 4-door sedan, but still a very nice car, you know, which I bought secondhand, and it was a classic car, very fast. So we're driving back, and then I brought a little battery-powered television with me, which was a new thing at the time, so we could actually watch television. And I wanted to see the commercials that we you know, made or whatever. Well, we couldn't see them because they weren't ready yet. I'm sorry, that was a mistake. I just wanted to see what was going on. And so anyway, so the news comes on, and this newscaster's really upset. And she's saying, this Hollywood film guy came into town today and filmed this guy running for education department, and he made him look really good in a library and all, you know, just Hollywood, you know, just terrible, you know. But she doesn't mention that he doesn't have an education, so it's kind of interesting. So somebody got paid for something. And so they said, you know, but we understand these Hollywood people have now left the city. But why can't our politicians use local television producers instead of hiring a guy from Hollywood? And Ann and I are laughing. I said, yeah, it's not Hollywood. We're from Houston, because that's my native city, Houston, where I was born. But I did make films in Hollywood, of course, so it was somewhat right. So it was kind of funny. So that's my story about making television commercials. You deal with some really crazy people, you know. Well, in the film industry in general, you're dealing with crazy people. But it's interesting, I'll say that. So that's my story for today. And I have my cup of coffee here. And I don't know if anybody bought me a coffee. I'll have a look. I didn't look today. But anyway, that's it. So this is the end of episode 6, and I guess I'll post that today. And that's it. So have a good day.